Shareware games. They were basically demos that often contained a third of a game's content completely free. You don't really see that nowadays because most AAA companies are greedy shitheads. But if you look back far enough, you'll see the king of shareware games was Apogee. Even in my technologically regressive country, you could get Apogee demos pretty easily. It was nice to play some quality in between the random crap I normally played.
Captain, I am Lieutenant Samir Duran.
Apogee always put gameplay first, which for an interactive medium is most important. Sure, you want story and narrative to support each other, but no amount of story is gonna make Bubsy 3D worth playing, now is it? Oh, and before CDs became a thing, they literally couldn't fit a story on the same floppies your game came with without turning it into Ultima, so yeah. As a kid, Duke Nukum was the coolest dude alive, with Commander Keen a close second. Made cooler by the fact that the third game was totally off limits to my preteen ass. Oh, that came out weird. Let's move on. While Duke Nukem 3D was mind-blowing when I eventually played it, its predecessors were still excellent games. Much shorter games, but still quite fun, or so I remember. We'll have to see if it holds up. The story, for what little there is, kicks off when Dr. Proton, robotics expert, captures the fictional Shrapnel City after he was driven mad by some kind of radiation accident. To stop this escaped radiation victim, the CIA sent Duke Nukem to go and kill him and his robot minions. And you heard that right, Duke worked for the CIA.
So you're the pitiful hero sent to stop me. I, Dr. Proton, will soon rule the world.
So your first mistake was underestimating Duke, your second mistake was making him miss today's episode of Oprah. Episode 1 begins and Duke is dropped into Shrapnel City, which is infested with technobots ranging from absolutely deadly to barely a nuisance. Anything with a gun is pretty dangerous. By far the most threatening enemy is the jumping mech. They can move autonomously and shoot at you. Everything else just meanders back and forth. No real threat from any of these. I'm not going to do the thing where I describe every level in gratuitous detail because, let's be honest, it will get repetitive pretty quickly. There isn't much to talk about anyway, so why waste your time? Scattered around levels are different colored boxes. Red boxes always contain health items. Soda heals 1 point unless you shoot and destroy them. Chicken heals 2 health points if you shoot it first. Blue boxes are just point items, so who cares? It's not like an id game where you have lives. Grey boxes can either contain nothing, full heals, bombs, or upgrades. There's also an access card, but it's more like a fancy key. The most interesting thing are those upgrades. Starting E1M3, you can find your first gun upgrade on this fragile floor. Once you inevitably fall down the pit, you'll get the high jump boots. E1M6 introduces the robot hand, which lets you activate these hand scanners to activate bridges and whatnot. If you use the scanner without the robot hand, you get punished. And finally, there are the grappling hooks in E1M7. This allows you to grab onto certain platforms and even clamber up. These items act somewhat like Metroidvania upgrades, but since you progress through levels in a linear order, we're just improving mobility as the episode progresses. Which means certain things like the robo-hand punishment is a bit pointless. Don't get me wrong, it feels amazing to be able to jump all over the place and climb onto things like a roided bonobo with high-powered weaponry, but it feels like it could be more. Episode 1 isn't too hard, nothing super annoying. The lack of detail can make it hard to tell where you are, in more ways than one. Starting with, is this a warehouse? The outskirts of a city? An apartment? See, I have the same issue when I play Wolfenstein. The blocky areas make it hard to tell what I'm looking at even with my overactive imagination. For 2, levels are divided into distinct areas preventing you from getting lost. However, the lack of detail makes maze levels, or even just mazy areas, extra frustrating to deal with. Episode 1 is nice enough to include levels with built-in shortcuts, thankfully. E1M9 has this whole climb that isn't too bad and you loop around to grab the key. Or you could just do this. Okay, not much of a maze, so let's look at the actual Maze of Madness E1M5. You're told before the level starts there's a shortcut, and there is. Just find this spiky corridor and you can reach the end area without having to navigate the rest of this gauntlet of stupidity. There is a gun upgrade near the bottom of the starting area, and that's about the only important thing in the maze. Eventually you'll reach Dr. Proton's biodome base located underground. Nice foreshadowing with the backgrounds, by the way, that's good attention to detail even if unintentional. The level itself is pretty good, a nice gauntlet of challenges as you climb your way up to meet Dr. Proton. The fight with Proton isn't that hard, especially not after I grab that last gun upgrade in the secret here. Just shoot him a whole bunch and he fucks off to his moon base. And of course Duke Nukum follows him. Somehow? It's not explained, but who cares, we got asking to do. Episode 2 is less good. What is it with this series and tedious middle episodes? Stripped of our upgrades, we search for Proton once more. Episode 2 is front-loaded with mildly annoying levels. E2M2 is pretty bad. It's that type of level where you have to climb and climb, but if you make a mistake, you're just gonna fall. The level is such a visual mess, I can't tell if I should recover by moving back and forth or just hold still, because both make me feel like an idiot. It's bad enough that I have to jump to multiple areas on the map to finish the level, but it's not even the most frustrating one of these in the game. Peeking ahead quickly, episode 3 has a similar level, but the cleaner design makes it far less of a chore to deal with. The only good thing I can say about E2M2 is you can get 2 gun upgrades fairly easily. Episode 2 is also where the identical hallways get especially tiresome. Looking at E2M5, you're told the jump boots are on the level and there's even a high wall blocking the exit. So the hunt begins for the boots in this maze that is nothing but identical hallways and hidden flame spouts that will chip away at your health and your patience. And believe me, the last thing I want to do after searching for those damn boots for 20 minutes is have to restart the level because my impatient ass got deep fried by one of these random jets. What's worse is I couldn't tell you how to find the boots quickly. You have to find a teleporter somewhere. I'm rewatching this footage, but I'd have better luck trying to explain to Randy Pitchford why he needs to stop holding Duke Nukum hostage. Eventually, I get the boots and we can move on with our lives. And the next 4 levels are actually pretty good. Nothing like the preceding garbage. Heaven knows why they would put so many bad levels in front, but whatever. You get the grappling claws on E2M7. Now that we've fully geared up, we can go back to jumping and climbing like a hyperactive 5-year-old. The game is pretty fun when it's not jerking you around, but it's as if whomever worked on E2M5 was drunk while doing it, and for whatever reason they were drunk making the final level too. This is just a big joke. Another climbing map like E2M2, but way worse. 25 minutes. This is a 25-minute middle finger. Oh, sure, if you know what you're doing, you could probably do it quicker, but the way it's designed just makes it last that long. You cannot make a level this bad by accident, unless you are a frequent producer of trashware. The entire level is a climb with conveyors everywhere, and of course, conveyor directions alternate however they please, and this roof conveyor goes the wrong way and makes Duke crapple on. This wouldn't be a problem if there was a better way to tell which way they were spinning, other than looking at a tiny part of the sprite that I can't pay attention to because A, the game is scrolling so clunkily, and B, my eyes physically refuse to track them. You pretty much have to memorize the directions all the way up and time your jumps perfectly. This isn't even the whole level. Then you still have to survive long enough to get the access key and fight Proton. The fuck, Apogee, I expect better from you guys. If you have the patience to reach and defeat Proton, he retreats to the future, where he plans to build an army and come back. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, you just casually time travel, like a whole bunch. It's really just a teleporter with a fancy name. Episode 3 starts with Duke looking for a time machine. Easy enough, I'm practically tripping over the damn things.
Duke, you've tracked me to the moon and to the Earth's future. Don't you ever take a break?
Look, the last time Duke Nukum took a break, DNF happened, so let the man do his thing. My word, is episode 3 a breath of fresh air after the second episode fiasco. It's hard as nails, but I wouldn't say it's frustrating. Someone on the design team finally realized the shooting enemies are the most threatening. Especially when you hold off on gun upgrades and you don't litter levels with full heals. I swear the jumping mechs would outnumber every other enemy if it wasn't for the rabbitoids. You get the feeling the designers are just having fun now. Proton keeps talking about his robo-bunnies as if they're the deadliest creation on Earth. Spoiler alert, they aren't. But it just shows how batshit insane he's become, and I'm all for it. You get to feel the true might of those cyber hairs. You know, I much prefer designers just make stupid shit like this that's fun, rather than going out of their way to piss off as many people as possible. There isn't even a bullshit lead up to Proton, unless you count having to break all these blocks. Come on out, Proton, there's only 2 ways this can end. And with that, the Earth and its future are saved from Dr. Proton's armada of fluffy bunnies. Duke goes back to the present and becomes a world-renowned hero. Duke Nukem 1 for the most part is a basic platformer with some neat ideas. The upgrades are nice, but will probably serve better in some kind of free roaming game. Then again, despite my bitching, its simplicity is very much appreciated. Again, like Wolfenstein, we could bitch about the flaws all day, but if you appreciate it for what it is, you can enjoy it. And it certainly is worth the price, so yeah. Almost forgot, you can't actually buy these games because of Randy Pitchford. I don't know why, he's still holding Duke Nukem hostage. Let's end this here before I start talking about Randy Bobandy. If I start doing that, we're going to be here all day. I'll see you in the Duke Nukem 2 review.